Today's show is being brought to you by Rainbow Bread, and Rainbow is good bread. This is a continuation of our Black Heritage Month. And speaking of Black Heritage, the Medical Center State Bank's 11th anniversary and Black Heritage celebration will be in full force February the 14th through February the 19th. I want you to join your friends at Medical Center State Bank for the following activities. On Tuesday, Senior Citizens Day, entertainment, and a fashion show, all at 1:30. On Wednesday, it's Youth Day at the Medical Center State Bank. That's Wednesday, February the 15th. 10 o'clock, Eisenhower's drill team will perform. 10:30, Eisenhower's choir. 11 o'clock, John Marshall's dancers. 11:45, Northeast High School choir. 1 o'clock, Moon Middle School, and at 1:30, Millwood School. Thursday, Arts Day. 10 o'clock, the Adams Barber and Beauty Salon. 11 o'clock, Maurice's Hairstyles. Black Liberated Arts at 11 o'clock. But to your surprise, all day long, there will be art on display. On Friday is open house and 11th anniversary celebration. See Joe Wan's B Cosmetics. See the Douglas Dancers and McKay Davis African Methodist Episcopal Church has what is known as a stick band, and the stick band will perform at 12 o'clock sharp. At 1 o'clock, the National Association of Black Social Workers group has a group of singers, and they will be singing at 1 p.m. At 2 o'clock, Mr. Sherman Mincer, field representative from Representative Mickey Edwards' office, will be speaking. Now for those of you that work late, at 4 o'clock, Reverend Melvin Tukes will speak. 5 o'clock, Miss Wanda Kirk, and 5:30, the American Muslim Mission. Saturday is a day that we have looked forward to because it's the health fair. At 12 o'clock, the parade will start, and you are healthy, you are great, and I want you to participate in the parade. Let me tell you where it starts. It will start at 23rd and Eastern and move west on 23rd from Eastern to Lottie, south on Lottie to Northeast 12th Street, ending at the Medical Center State Bank's parking lot. In the meantime, the bank will be open all day, and you can go into the bank and take care of your business because you know that Medical Center State Bank is a member of FDIC. At 9:30 in the morning, Mary Mahoney's Health Center will make a presentation. 10 o'clock is Dr. Don H. Cumby talking about dentistry and the problems of your teeth. But at 10:30, we turn to Dr. Charles Biscoe and eye care. You really want to know how to take care of your eyes? Don't worry. Go to the health fair at Medical Center State Bank at 10:30 a.m. Mrs. Barbara Statham will be speaking on chemical dependence at 11 o'clock. 11:30 from Tulsa, Oklahoma, Miss Melva Franklin, the Sickle Cell Anemia Foundation. Mrs. Esther Broughton from the Veterans Hospital will also be part of that panel at 11:30. Now, while you're at Medical Center State Bank, you can open your account. At 12 o'clock, Miss Cindy Najum of the Oklahoma Blood Institute will be present. 12:30, Dr. Clarence Wiley, the dermatologist. 2 o'clock, Mr. Sammy T. Davis of the McKay Davis Funeral Home will be there. 2:15, it will be Dr. Kenneth Thompson. And on Sunday, at 2:30 p.m. There will be a reception for all of the newcomers. Now, if you've just moved to Oklahoma City, I want to invite you to attend the newcomers reception. There will be presentations and entertainment, all for you at the Medical Center State Bank, located at 13th and Lottie, a member of FDIC. Now, Medical Center State Bank is my bank, and I wonder what your bank is doing for Black Heritage Week. I do not know, but I do know you are invited to join the crowd at Medical Center State Bank. Now, for the parade, I want you to tell me that you won't. Tell me that you want to be in the parade. Now, this is a Black Heritage Parade, and it will be next Saturday. I want you to be in it. All of you queens, you kings, you different organizational groups, sororities, fraternities, churches, everybody. The reason that I want you to be in it is because you are so proud of your heritage. I would like to invite our white friends who join us in the Medical Center State Bank's 11th anniversary and Black Heritage celebration. Clara Luper reporting, KAEZ Radio here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Orange and Sons Trucking and Construction Company specializes in parking lot maintenance, patchwork, repair, new construction. They have a complete overly service custom moving. If you are planning on getting some dirt, red dirt, topsoil, rock, shale, call Orange and Son. The telephone number is 769-4052, and the Oranges are located in Spencer, Oklahoma, but they serve all Oklahoma. If you are really thinking about a parking lot, remember Orange and Son. I promised you the best in radio entertainment and information. That's why I've invited on this Black Heritage Day, Miss Evelyn Pittman. Evelyn, I'm so happy you are back. The response from your program last week was unbelievable. I had people calling me and say, Clara, that was some poem that Evelyn wrote about to you. And I said, yes, I loved it.
Oh, Clara, thank you. And I want to thank you again for having me to come back, because I want to speak to your radio listening audience and tell them that next Sunday, February the 19th at 3 o'clock in the theater of the Kirkpatrick Center located on Northeast 52nd and Eastern, that you will be our guest. Ladies and gentlemen, Clara Luper, the explosive, fearless, and courageous woman, will talk about her experiences that took place 25 years ago. Clara Luper is the modern Black Moses of her race, and that is brought out in the poem that I wrote about her, which will be read by the well-known Betty Douglas next Sunday. Clara Luper not only is the Black Moses of her race, she is the mother of the sit-ins that took place 25 years ago. And as I told you last week, how proud I was to see and hear people from all over this country come to Oklahoma City to take part in the Freedom Fiesta, which I consider a great tribute and honor to Clara Luper. Clara, you have done so much for this community that we take for granted. For example, I talked to my youngsters today and asked them if they knew that 25 years ago they could not go into eating places and order a hamburger or a soda. They didn't know that. I said, it's time that you learn what your leaders have done. Now, Clara will talk about that next week. We will also have an exhibit, which I consider a must. an exhibit on the life of Mrs. Zelia N. Brough, who was for 34 years the supervisor of music in the separate schools. Come and see this latest picture of her first band and of her last community band. She served this community for 34 years, retiring in 1952. Let us see you there to view the exhibit and to hear the dynamic Clara Luper.
Thank you so very kindly. I so often say that if you have anything to say about me, please say it while I can hear it. If you have any flowers for me, give them to me now while I can smell them. And I love you. Thank you so very kindly, Evelyn. The Zeta Phi Beta sorority had its regular meeting today at the YWCA. According to Mrs. Rose, the Basilis, that the Zeta Phi Beta sorority will be presenting a final womanhood program that will be out of sight. The M&W Welding Company has moved. The new address is 2601 Northeast 23rd Street here in Oklahoma City. Merlin McCary would like for you to visit him, and certainly if you need some burglar bars and you really want to protect your home or place of business, don't worry, just call 232-7760 here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. During Black History Week, it's a great time to play bingo. That's why I would like to invite you to the House of Bingo, 3613 North Everett Street here in Oklahoma City. Open every day except Sunday. The House of Bingo is open in the mornings and also in the evenings, and from 7 to 11 p.m. you can really play bingo. That's a House of Bingo. Incidentally, congratulations to all that have tried to make Black History a reality, from Mr. George Singer, the owner of the House of Bingo. I had the opportunity to talk to Seal at Seal's Cleaners, and I want you to go by and talk to Seal. Seal is certainly interested in this community and is an ardent supporter of anything for the benefit of this community, and that's why I always take my clothes to Seal's Cleaners, 3617 North Everett Street here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. You can take your clothes in at 8 a.m. and get them out at 8 p.m. Today is really an exciting day because I have finally gotten my principal in a position where I am completely in charge. And I would like to welcome Dr. Ed to the Clara Luper radio audience. And how are you today, Dr. Ed?
Very fine, Mrs. Luper. It's an honor to have the pleasure to be with you and your radio audience on this program here this evening.
I never had the opportunity to interview you when you were at Star Spencer High School, but now I have you here at John Marshall High School, where I see you every day and I can constantly remind you. Where is Star Spencer High School located?
Star Spencer High School is located on North Spencer Road. I think that address is 3001 Spencer Road.
And now you are in Oklahoma City, is that correct?
In Oklahoma City at 9017 North University at John Marshall High School.
How did you feel when you first took on the responsibility of a principal at Star Spencer High School?
It's very pleasurable to have the opportunity to principal a city high school. Many of the focuses that one is able to receive as a teacher, as a counselor even, and as an assistant principal, all come together in that position called the principalship. It's a great challenge, very pleasurable, and very rewarding.
That was at Star Spencer High School?
Yes.
Okay, but what about John Marshall High School?
Okay, John Marshall High School is no different. In fact, with some most recent accomplishments that this school and the community has received, it really allowed those same qualities that were received at Star Spencer to be emphasized even that much more. Very rewarding, very pleasurable, and very much a challenge.
You're talking about a principal. You were the principal at Star Spencer. You were the assistant principal at Northeast High School, and now the principal at John Marshall High School. What is a principal?
Principal is a unique animal, Mrs. Luper, a person who thrives apparently on sometimes conflict, sometimes chaos, and yet at the same time have the ability to see the good in each individual that he works with and is responsible for.
So you see good in people at the various schools that you have worked.
Absolutely. I have the opportunity to not only work with youngsters as they are involved in education and with the teaching staff, but also through that process establish some far-reaching, long-lasting friendships in the process.
I'm talking to Dr. Ed, the principal of John Marshall High School here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. What programs do you have that really stand out at John Marshall High School?
I think I would be remiss if I didn't name an outstanding social studies program that we have at John
You're
Marshall.
very smart, Dr. Ed.
And in addition to the social studies program, we have an interdisciplinary approach to education by way of our bare academic program. Of course, there are outstanding vocal and instrumental music. There's outstanding fine arts. We have a good school environment.
Speaking of a good school, we're talking about John Marshall High School here in Oklahoma City. And I'm talking to the principal of John Marshall High School. This is Black Heritage Month, Dr. Ed. And as a black educator, not that it would make any difference. If you were white, I would ask you the same question. What do you see as a main problem that face young people today, especially young black people?
Mrs. Luper, I'm glad you've given me an opportunity to share this thought on this point. I think probably one of the main problems is the emphasis that perhaps young people place on education today. Today, the attainment of an education is no doubt more important than it's ever been in the history of this country. To live in the 80s, a person must be able to follow directions, verbal and written directions. To live successfully, a person must have the ability to communicate well with others, again, both verbal and written communications. Education can provide this, and yet at the same time, I see a number of our students and youth in our community putting a lesser emphasis on education. To live successfully, a person must learn even how to coexist with other people, many of whom will be of different races and persuasions and backgrounds. Education can provide this also. Yet, many youth in our community put a lesser emphasis on education. I'd like to share with you that education, according to a writer named Robert Hutchins, he says that education is not to reform students or amuse them or to make them expert technicians. It is to unsettle their minds, widen their horizons, inflame their intellects, and teach them to think straight if possible. That suggests in sort of a amusing way that critical thinking is also necessary in education. Critical thinking is an absolute must in 1980s and the future. Critical thinking is cultivated in education. Yet, at the same time, I see some of our youth placing less emphasis on education.
I'm talking to Dr. Leon Ed, one of the many Eds in Oklahoma. Dr. Ed, you are from a large family, aren't you?
Yes, I'm from a family of 6 brothers and sisters, and we all originated in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
And so you finished school in Tulsa High School?
Booker T. Washington High School in Tulsa.
Oh, I see. And you played against Douglas High School.
Very competitively every year.
All right. As we look at black people today and as we look at the black family, are you a family man?
Yes, I have 3 children of my own. My wife, Elita, and my oldest son, who will be 13 just this month. Uh, we are very much involved in their development.
You have a very beautiful wife. What color are her eyes?
My wife's eyes are lovely brown.
I'm talking to Dr. Ed, the principal of John Marshall High School here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Dr. Ed, I have one more question. As an educator, as a real educator, someone that's concerned with the future of this country, what do you feel that those of us that are parents should do to improve education?
In an effort to improve education, our job starts at home. The preschool years, ages from birth to say 5 years old, have been documented as the most critical period in time for learning that may be experienced by a young person. It's this time when parents can really devote the time, the energy, the love, the caring in giving their youngsters a head start, if you will, into socialization and learning that will come into school when they begin.
Thank you so very kindly, Dr. Ed, for being my very distinguished guest today. During Black History Week, you are invited to eat at Rose's Restaurant, 217 Northwest 23rd Street here in Oklahoma City. Mondays through Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And here's your ace reporter, Shelley.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Shelley Marie Luper Wilson bringing you the news. Today's story is about families. Families. It's hard to live with them and nearly impossible to live without them. At some time or another, your brothers and sisters and father and mother make you cry, scream, start arguments, pout, worry, and wonder what life would be like if only you lived alone. On the other hand, your family also makes you laugh, whisper secrets, giggle, kiss, hug, and otherwise feel very loved and loving. Families are a very curious thing, and as you get older, you'll find them even more curious. Bigness in families gave people comfort and safety, too. Folks had to stick together as families because long ago life was tougher and more dangerous. After a few hundred years, though, some important changes happened that caused a shifting in big families. One of these changes centered around work. Huge machines and factories were being built. People began leaving home for jobs when before they had worked basically around the home area. That was brought to you by Merlin Hilger. Merlin sells home insurance, car insurance, and life insurance. You can contact her by calling 424-6863.
Give yourself a Black History present. Buy Clara Luper's book, Behold the Walls, at Portwood's Fashion Jewelry, 1904 Northeastern, or call 424-3949. And here's Malachi.
Good evening. My name is Malachi Brown. Today I will give you a happy Valentine's poem. Be our Valentine. Valentines are many things. Heart-shaped beads to string on strings. Candy kisses, precious gems, a dozen roses on long stems. But we believe it's mainly love. The best of them are fashioned of, so all of us who work here pray. Express our constant love and care. Our Valentine is loving prayer. May you continually find health of body, peace of mind on every page, in every line. God's love as your Valentine. This is brought to you by Behold the Walls by Clara Luper. Call 424-3949. Have a happy Valentine's Day. Thank you.
The NAACP Youth Council announces its Black History Readathon, February the 12th through February the 29th, 1984. It's a 15-day Black History Readathon. For the first graders, the first grader that reads the largest amount of books during these 15 days will receive an award. The second graders, the third graders, the fourth graders, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th graders will be competing for the NAACP Youth Council's Black History Readathon. The readathon is also open to college students and adults. Those of you adults that are over 60, you that read the largest number of books on black history, you're going to get a prize. For further information, call us 424-3949 here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. The NAACP Youth Council will meet on Monday night at 7:30 p.m. I've always enjoyed talking to people that make news, and certainly I have with me today one of the outstanding ministers in this nation. I have seen him at national conventions. I've seen him on state and local level. I've seen him in front of a truck during the garbage strike. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll give to you the pastor of the Fairview Baptist Church here in Oklahoma City, your pastor, and I know how you Fairview members are. Whenever I say anything bad about Reverend Reed, you get down my throat. Well, you won't have to do it today because he's here in person. Reverend Reed, how are you?
I'm doing fine, Mrs. Luper, and it's just a privilege to have the opportunity to share with you once again.
Well, I'm so happy that you're sharing with me. I want you to continue to share your prayers for me.
We'll do that.
Okay. Now, I know that you and Dr. Davis went to Atlanta, Georgia last week. Is that right?
Yes.
What business did you two have in Atlanta last week?
We were in Atlanta to meet with churchmen from across our country, the nation, to meet with the candidate, Jesse Jackson, and to receive information concerning his organizational structure and really what we could do to help support him in our various states.
You met with Dr. Jackson last week.
On last
About
month.
how many ministers were present?
Approximately around 250 from across our nation, and that's all denominations.
Now, what did the ministers say that they could do for Jesse Jackson?
Well, what we're concerned about is, especially in caucus states, our concern as ministers will be becoming involved ourselves in our various churches and helping people to become involved in the precincts, because it's important that Jesse gets delegates from our various states.
You mean to tell me that you ministers are just now getting concerned and involved in what's happening in this country?
Well, I really don't think that we are just now becoming involved, but some of us have sort of lax. And I think at this particular time we have someone running for office that we feel that we can really support as a candidate, and we want to be involved.
Oh, you haven't felt that other candidates were worthy of your support?
Ms. Luper, we have voted in times before, but really at this particular time we feel that we have a man that's really speaking to the needs of our people across this country.
What are the needs of our people as you see it?
The needs of our people really is from economic needs, as we know that we have probably approximately 11 million people across our nation who are jobless. We have people who are hungry, and Jesse Jackson speaks to this need, and we feel that he is the type of individual that can begin putting our people back to work in all of our cities.
Reverend Reed, that sounds good, but what are you going to do here in your own state?
Well, we plan to launch a massive voters registration drive along with the NAACP and other organizations of our state. We plan to get people involved as far as fundraising is concerned, and also our concern is to get people involved in the precincts across our state that Jesse Jackson may have delegates.
In noticing the trend of voters registration and voters participation throughout the United States, I find that there's a lag in between the ages of 18 and 35. What do you plan to do about that?
Well, Jesse told us on last Monday that he is trying to solve the problem of getting the 18 to 26-year-old to enter into be active in politics and behave in social change. And so he's placing a lot of emphasis upon the group between 18 and 26.
Is Jesse Jackson coming to Oklahoma?
We are yet hoping that he will. We're striving to get Jesse here And he promised us on last Monday that he was going where he was needed. And he would like to have the opportunity to come to Oklahoma. So we're hoping that that will be worked out in the near future.
Now, if anyone out in Radio Land would like to work with you and others that are involved in the Jesse Jackson's campaign, what should they do?
You can contact me at the Fairview Baptist Church, and my phone number there is 232-1621. We want people to volunteer their services, and you will be hearing more about a campaign headquarters, that type of thing, in the near future.
I'll be back in just a minute. This is the Clara Luper Radio Show. For Black Heritage Week, I would like to invite you to go out to Sir Charles the Tailor, located at 6225 Southeast 15th Street here in Oklahoma City, or you may call 733-7600. I don't care. Read, as I think about Black Heritage Week, I think about the progress that we have made, and that progress can be wrapped up in what Sir Charles the Tailor has to offer. I would like to invite you, your congregation, and your friends to go to 6225 Southeast 15th Street or call Sir Charles 733-7600. Reverend Reed, it's been a pleasure for you to be with me today.
Mrs. Luper, I want to express to you my deepest appreciation for having the privilege of sharing with you this evening and for you inviting me to do so. And I want to admonish all people across our state to get out and register and vote. Grandmother, grandfather, mother, and father, children. Jesse is our candidate, and he needs our support.
Thank you, Reverend Reed. I would like to call upon all of the people that are not registered to come by Freedom Center, 2609 Northeastern here in Oklahoma City. We are open on Monday evenings, and every time you see me, I have the right credentials to register you. Now, you are invited to Inland Shores Seafood Market, Restaurant, and Club, located at 6749 East Reno in Heritage Park Mall, Midwest City, Oklahoma. At Inland Shores, you are welcome to the new concept of dining pleasure. They are providing Oklahoma with the romance, the allure, and atmosphere of the ocean shores. Nothing has been spared to provide you with the same pleasures you would have to travel hundreds of miles to truly enjoy. Relax and enjoy yourself. Tell your friends about Inland Shores Seafood Market, Restaurant, and Club, 6749 East Reno, here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. The telephone number is 732-2623. Evelyn, before you leave, I wanted to ask you a question. Will you tell our radio audience once again about the program on Sunday?
The program Sunday will be at 3 o'clock at the Kirkpatrick Center Theater, located on Northeast 52nd and Eastern. We want all of you to come and hear the children sing about Sojourner Truth and talk about Harriet Tubman, because Clara Luper is in line with those women. Thank you.
Thank you, Evelyn. According to Mrs. Betty Mason, Brother President, the story of Martin Luther King Jr. will be presented at Claxon High School on February the 18th at 7:30 p.m. And Onita, I understand you have a very special announcement.
Yes, Clara. Next Sunday at 3 o'clock at the Wildwood Baptist Church, 60 Northeast 63rd. It is the annual day of the Ushers. And our special guest will be Mrs. Hawkins from the Paradise Baptist Church and the men's chorus from Antioch number 1. And we would like to invite everyone, if you don't have anything else to do, to please come out and hear them. And we'll assure you that you will enjoy them. And that is at the Wildwood Baptist Church, Sunday, February the 19th at 3 p.m.
There will be a tribute to black excellence, according to Herbert Keith, at the Quality Inn Central, February 26th at 5 p.m. There will be an Achievement Awards dinner. Mr. Keith states that we as local blacks are also achievers. It is time for us to be recognized here in the city. There will be guest speakers in religion, Reverend Michael Milburn; in politics, Representative Cox; in business, Carl Holmes; in finance, Miss Marie Harlan of the Medical Center State Bank. There will be art exhibits, a fashion show, voters registration, a dinner, and a dance. The tickets are $20 single, $35 per couple. Yeah, they may be purchased at the YWCA at Whibble's Ice Cream Parlor, that's 3925 North Lincoln, and at Lee's Ribs Barbecue, that's 401 West Wilshire at Oklahoma City. Or you may call Keith at 478-1433. It's Miss Black Oklahoma time in the state of Oklahoma. On June 9th, 1984, you will decide who will represent Oklahoma in the annual Miss Black America pageant, which will be held on June 15th in the state of Pennsylvania. Tonight, Langston University will select Miss Black Langston. Next Saturday night, Oklahoma University will select their representative. And the next Saturday night, Oklahoma State University. This is the news you've been waiting for. For the first time in the history of the Miss Black Oklahoma pageant, we have 28 cities represented. We've never had anything like it. Now, in Oklahoma City, we need additional contestants. So if you are in the Oklahoma City area, why don't you call me at 424-3949 or call Letty Ruth Hunter. The Soul Bazaar will be held May 4th, 5th, and 6th at the Myriad Convention Center. I want you to write that date down, and those of you that want to participate in the Soul Bazaar, let me know. Soul Bazaar time, May 14th, 15th, and 16th. It was a bright day in Oklahoma City. Yet it was a dark day. It was Thursday at 11 a.m. when the largest crowd that has ever gathered in Oklahoma City's northeast section gathered to say goodbye to a co-worker in education and to a friend. Don Edwards passed on Sunday, February the 5th, 1984. Many of you in the Dungy area will remember him as your band instructor. At Northeast, you will remember him in a special way, and at Millwood, your hearts continue to belong to Dr. Edwards. It was a service that was filled with memories, pleasant memories, as told by those that knew him. It was a gathering of over 100 Alpha Phi Alpha men that had come from all over the state to say goodbye to their brother. There were special remarks by Judge Charles Owens and Reverend J.R. MacLeod had come from San Francisco to pay his respect. Remarks by Fred McCain, the chairman of the board of the Millwood Board of Education, and a solo by Loretta Green, and the eulogy delivered in an eloquent manner by Reverend Monroe Woods. And then it was a pardon view. Don Edwards, respected by the people in his own state, loved by many. Dr. Edwards was laid to rest at the Summit View Cemetery in Guthrie, Oklahoma. All of us must quickly carry out the task assigned us by the one who sent me, for there is little time left before night falls and all work comes to an end. So it was written in John 9:4. Here's Onita with other death announcements.
A Temple Funeral Home announces the services of Infant Amos Anderson, 1832 Northeast 53rd Street, is pending at the Temple Funeral Home. Services for Mr. Eugene Anderson, 1705 North Jordan, is pending with the Temple Funeral Home. McKay announces the services of Mr. Thomas Henry Blewett, 1204 Northeast 7th Street, will be Monday at 11 a.m. at the Avery Chapel AME Church. Raw Funeral Home announces the services of Mrs. Florence Bond, Route 1, Box 35T, Crescent, Oklahoma. Will be Sunday at 1 p.m. at the Mount Pleasant Baptist Church in Crescent. Services for Mrs. Louise Moore, 324 South Ross, will be Monday at 11 a.m. at Antioch number 1. Services for Mrs. Myrtle Green of Spencer, Oklahoma, is pending with the Raw Funeral Home. I would like to say to the families tonight, as we extend our sympathy, surely in this hour of sorrow, He has borne our grief and carried our sorrow. In this hour of sorrow for you, a heartfelt prayer that God will grant His comfort and His consolation too. And back to Clara.
This is Black Heritage Month. It's that time that we look back over the history of our people. We look at the struggles, the disappointments, the pains, and the sorrows. Today, all over this nation, we look at the conditions that we are in. Number one, in unemployment. Number one, in losing hope and faith. And number one, in not understanding and loving each other. When we look at Black history, there are some facts that we're going to have to deal with, whether we like the facts or not. Fact number one, the white man never would have been able to have captured Black people in Africa had it not been for the Black tribal leaders. And even today, the whole facets of slavery remain within our enslaved minds. It was after the Civil War, the dark days, that the real meaning of the Black press developed. The Black press was a necessary part of the Black man's struggle. And as we read the pages of history, we read the why of the Black press. In order to understand the Black press, we must look at the white press that carried only the stories of Blacks that were bad, only the stories of Blacks that would destroy and make Blacks hate Blacks and make whites hate Blacks. But the Black press was born. And out of the Black press, we read the stories of Blacks and their achievement. We read about the George Washington Carvers. Probably Roscoe Dunjee put it better than any other writer. We read about each other. Now, as Black people, we know that we have made some mistakes, some bad mistakes. But we also have had the Black press to help us during difficult times. As I look at the Black press, I think about the moments in the sit-in movement when Abram Ross, Ben Tipton, and others could have reported some news that would not have helped the cause of freedom and equality. But they did what the pioneers did. They remembered their role as the Black press. I deeply regret, and I really hate, that the press, the Black press in Oklahoma City, did not follow the traditions of the understanding of Blacks and the problems. Don't kick me when I'm down, Black press. Don't point out my weaknesses unless you want someone to point out yours. Because in each of our closets, there must be something that the public does not know. What am I saying basically? I'm saying that Clara Luper was disappointed at the Black Chronicle this week in a story. And I would hate for Mr. Russell Perry to be my friend if that's the kind of journalism he practices. Did you hear what Clara Luper said? I would like to repeat it. Go into the looking glass. Stand in front of a mirror and look at yourself and say, oh, I too have made some mistakes. And because I've made these mistakes, will my family have to suffer? Who will write for the black man? Will it be a black man, black on the outside, and a different color on the inside? How did Langston Hughes put it? Langston Hughes says, someday somebody's going to write about me. I guess it would be me myself. But you can bet one thing. I'm not going to write of all my weaknesses. For example, have you ever heard a white writer that wrote about Patrick Henry, that great statesman? Have you ever heard or have you ever read the story of what Patrick Henry did to his wife? How he locked her in the basement of that beautiful mansion and for months did not go down to see about her as she was taken care of by her slaves. No white writer would dare do that to a Patrick Henry. How many of you have read in a white history book the story of Thomas Jefferson and the black children that he fathered? No. For some historical reasons, white people have written in order to benefit unborn generations. But when a black man picks up a pen to try to destroy someone, many times he destroys himself. One story that you can find in African slavery in your local library. It tells the story of an African king that had power, that had treasures, and because he had that, he sold his brother for a pistol. But accidentally, the pistol went off and blew his head off. Here was an example of an egotistical leader that destroyed himself by selling someone else. Clara Luper reporting, KAEZ Radio, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Miss Black Oklahoma City will be held on April the 14th, and I want you to help me find Miss Black Oklahoma City. She can be between the ages of 18, not over 25. This will be the greatest Black History celebration because you're going to be a part of real Black history. Real Black history is being black on the inside as well as the outside. Congratulations to Mrs. Ruby Hall, Mrs. Letty Hunter, and others that brought Miss America to Oklahoma City. And just a personal note on that. Did you notice the fact how that story was covered in our local newspaper? Even though we had the Black Caucus, even though we had the governor with Miss America, we never saw those pictures in a local paper. Maybe we will take a hint and learn to protect our own. Did you notice the response from the white community for Miss America? So now we can truly conclude that it doesn't make any difference whether you're Dr. Black, Miss America, Reverend. We are all on the same boat. Check your pocketbooks. You might have just a little more money than some other blacks. You might ride in a better automobile. You might have your Mercedes. You might have an office. But I have news for you today. We are all in the same boat. And we've got to row that boat together, else we're going to sink. I would like to close today by congratulating Reverend Wade Watts, the state president of the NACP, that held a regional meeting here in Oklahoma City on yesterday and launched a 75,000 voters registration drive, and also called upon this state to give 10,000 NACP memberships. If you don't have your NACP membership, don't be grinning and talking about how proud you are to be black. And to those of you that are young, if you cannot spend $3 for your NAACP membership, don't talk about black history, because you too will become false in your objective. And it's nothing as bad as a hypocritical person. Well, don't forget to read this month. We have a 15-day reading program. And talking about something that happened in Oklahoma City yesterday, I switch you now to Letty Ruth Hunter.
On yesterday, the First AME Church of Oklahoma City had a spring fling fashion show and brunch. It was at the Comparative Center on 52nd and Eastern. We had models modeling in 4 categories, which was very, very fantastic. They modeled sports wear, evening wear, dinner, after 5, before 5, and party dresses. Some of the models were Mrs. Hall, Wilson, Dukes, Dunn, Ray, Miller, Johnson, Edwards, Jenkins, Pritchett, Carrington, Bloomer, Gaddis, Frederick, Ross, Hunter, Porter, Carrington, Edwards, and Dukes. Now if you want to know who the first names were, you just have to call and ask me. And I really want to give a compliment to and a thank you to the merchants who gave us clothes to model so that we can know what was all going to happen for spring. So they were all in their spring outfit. I want to thank Sierra Anthony's for being so courteous to our church and letting the people borrow clothes to wear. I want to thank the persons who let me have some clothes to wear, which was Johnny Brown's. And if you weren't there to see all these beautiful clothes, Mrs. Luper, you really missed a treat. We also had the hit and miss to let us have some things, and I really want to give a special contribution to Catch-Alls and Casual from the mall, and the Soul Boutique. This program was sponsored by the young people of the First AME Church, and the chairperson was Vivian Miller, and her co-workers was Alice Dukes, Paula Stevenson, and Gloria Hall. Those were the planning committee members who sponsored this wonderful brunch, and we really did have some great eatings there. We had those chicken drumettes, sweetheart ham, broccoli holidash. We had sweet rolls, Bavarian green beans, asparagus rolls, and Hawaiian fruit. We had hot coffee, spiced tea, and we had California sunshine drink. So this was a fantastic thing. If you didn't come out on yesterday to see that, you really missed a treat. And talking about missing a treat, I have another treat that's in store for you that you will have a chance to come to see. And this is a National Vocational Education Week that will be held at Douglas High School, your pride of the Northeast Side. So come on out. It's our National Vocational Education Week. It begins on February the 12th through the 18th, which is today. And on Monday, when you come down to Douglas High School, and especially in the hall, you will see students putting up signs telling you the careers that you may enter by being in food management class. And some of the careers are careers like you can be a chef if you want to be a chef, you can be a pastry cook, you can be a salad girl, you can be whatever you desire. You can even be a fry cook. So you get on, put up one of your own stores for yourself and just cook all you would like. And on Tuesday, the child care class from Star Spencer will be coming over to Douglas to see how we perform and do so many duties. And Wednesday, we're going to have open house, and it's open to the public, and you may come from 9 until 1. All the vocational departments will have some type of exhibit to let you see what they're doing during their classes and their class periods. So come on down so you can know what we are doing. And then on Thursday, Douglas High School will go to Star Spencer, and we're going to visit her child care center class. On Friday, we're going to have an exchange class. We're going to bring cosmetology in, the girls who are doing hair, and show them how we can cook, and we're going to serve them a delicious meal. So come on down to Douglas High School, February the 12th through the 18th, and see what we're doing. Clara?
As we look at the clock on the wall, we know it's time to say goodbye. As I say goodbye, I say it with memories of words from Theophilus Robertson, Mrs. Randa, Mrs. Lovin, Joyce Jackson, Herbert Graves, and others. This has been the Clara Luper Radio Show, and I'll see you as you enroll and say to me that we are going to make Black Oklahoma City the best show ever. And now let me ask you to do one favor for me. Tell all your friends that the Soul Bazaar will be May 4th, 5th, and 6th. And don't forget the parade. We are going to parade for Black Heritage Month next Saturday. Clara Luper saying, I do love you. Bye-bye.